Hello and welcome back. And have you ever wondered what the best bottle episode in The Walking Dead is? Well, in today's video, I'll be going through my top 10 picks for the best bottle episodes in The Walking Dead Season 1 to Season 11. So sit back, relax, and let's jump right into this with number 10, Season 5, Episode 9, What Happened and What's Going On. And this episode is by far the most bottle episode. It follows one character in one room for most of the episode. And that might sound boring. However, in my opinion, this is my favourite death and Tyrese episode. This episode is so well done with the death of Tyrese, and this episode gives us many cameos from dead characters like Beth returning, she died the previous episode, and the governor. This is a really great episode. I think it's overshadowed quite a lot because the previous episode was the Beth death episode, so this episode was a very depressing episode, and a lot of people just don't talk about it. They go straight from, I dislike the mid part of Season 5, I think they killed off Beth, and now all the Alexandria. No one really talks about those middle episodes, and I think this is maybe one of the most underrated episodes in Season 5, and I have to put it on this list of one of my favourite bottle episodes. Number 9 is Season 9, Episode 14, Scars, and this is easily one of the most darkest episodes. I really enjoy this episode because it explains what happened between the 6-year time jump. We had to get something like that at some point. And I think this episode with Michonne and Daryl as the focus, and having this one-off villain with Michonne's friend returning, Jocelyn, is absolutely amazing. I think this episode is by far the worst episode in Season 9, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It's still a good episode, it's just not as good as everything else around it. So a lot of people will just kind of diss on this episode because it's the weakest of a phenomenal season. Number 8 is Season 4, Episode 9, After, and this is the Carl episode in Season 4. And this episode is really good. It's Carl's first episode alone and really focuses on Carl's struggle in the world. He shows that he can survive without Rick. This episode's about that point. But at the end of the episode, it is that he can, but he doesn't want to. I really enjoy this episode. And it's great we got a Carl-focused episode. It's a shame they kind of stopped doing it. They gave him maybe an episode or two in Season 8. I think he only appears in 4 episodes of Season 8, so he gets 1 episode where he's the focus. 2, if you count him walking around as a dead man, or being carried around, should I say, in Episode 9, Honor. But they could have done so much more of Carl, and this episode is really promising. It's a shame they just never did more of Carl in those middle seasons before he died. Now, number 7 is Season 4, Episode 12, Still. And this episode used to be one of the worst bottle episodes. However, as time's gone on, it has aged really well. This episode's gone from being a joke when The Walking Dead stood still in the episode Still, and everyone was like, this episode's pointless, to this episode being quietly one of the silent best episodes in the show. This episode is great for characters like Beth and Daryl, and their pairing is phenomenal. Amazing pairing, wouldn't expect it, but it is absolutely amazing. And the character development with these characters and them growing a bond, amazing. This episode is a quiet one and definitely deserves its 7th place. Now, number 6 is Season 2, Episode 10, 18 Miles Out. And this episode is the breaking point for Shane and Rick's relationship. Absolutely amazing watching them fighting, and there are some great memes in this episode. However, what brings this episode down is because it doesn't really feel like a bottle episode. I had to rewatch it and be like, yes, it is. And it has a weird subplot with Andrea, Maggie, and Laurie, which I was not a fan of. I think it's tied into Beth's storyline of the season, but I thought maybe you could have made this episode a bit tighter by moving that to Episode 9 or 11 and focusing solely on the Rick-Shane dynamic. This episode, even though it has that one flaw, still phenomenal and 6th place. And number 5 is Season 10, Episode 19, One More. And this episode is a COVID episode. However, it's one of the few COVID episodes you didn't know was a COVID episode. It is so well done, and pairing just Aaron and Gabriel, phenomenal. They weren't really a proper pairing. They had some scenes together. They weren't really a pairing until this episode. And it does so much for both their character developments. Gabriel, definitely with him losing faith in God after Whisperer War, and this episode really focusing on that. And I also have to mention Maze, easily by far one of the best one-off characters we've got on The Walking Dead. Now, number 4 is Season 3, Episode 12, Clear, and this is the Morgan return episode. And what I really enjoy about this episode is having Rick and Morgan finally reunite and seeing how their lives have become completely different. Rick has found his family again, however Morgan has lost everything and gone insane. And personally, I think this episode is phenomenal and does carry that middle section of The Walking Dead Season 3. Now, number 3 is Season 6, Episode 4, Here's Not Here, another Morgan episode. And this episode is one of the most underrated episodes of The Walking Dead, and by far the most underrated bottle episode of The Walking Dead, solely because it is poorly placed within this season. Why make it episode 4, right in the middle of the No Way Out arc? So dumb, absolutely baffles me. After episode 3 was Alexandria under siege, being attacked by the wolves. Really dumb, but if you look at this episode in isolation, phenomenal. Eastman, another one of the best characters, one-off characters in The Walking Dead. Morgan, phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. This is also an extended episode, so we get a proper good time with Morgan. Understand how he went from clear Morgan to all life is precious Morgan. Amazing episode, but again, I'm going to have to say, underrated episode as hell. Don't know why. A lot of people need to rewatch this episode because it is absolutely phenomenal. And I almost put it number 2, but number 2 is Season 4, Episode 14, The Grove. And this episode is iconic. So that's why it's ever so slightly beat out here. It's not here. The Grove is the Carol episode with Carol, Tyrese and the kids and them trying to live a happy life. Carol and Tyrese finally just get past the whole what happened to Karen and David, where Carol admits she killed him and Tyrese forgives her, and we get the Lizzie and Mika issue. And this episode is just, as I said before, iconic. Have to mention it, number 2, but it's not number 1, because number 1 is Season 10, Episode 22, Here's Negan. This episode is by far the best bottle episode in The Walking Dead, solely because this episode just does so much. We have a COVID episode which doesn't even feel like a COVID episode. You have Lucille, you have Negan. We understand so much about the character of Negan. And I would have to say this episode really humanizes Negan in a way no other episode can, in a way no other character has been humanized on The Walking Dead. We had a villain, we had a redemption arc which is still in process by the time of season 10, and then we get this amazing backstory. It deserves to be number 1 in my opinion, and this is my list, so please tell me down below. Do you agree with my picks or do you disagree? What are your picks for the top 10 best bottle episodes in The Walking Dead? Please tell me in the comments. This is it for me today, so thank you for listening and I'll talk to you later.